Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for JHC Plus Friends. Is this episode 13, Julia?
I have lost track, honestly. I think so. I believe so. Yes. Yes. It's
wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, I'm excited to be here. How's everyone doing? Has everyone gotten their coffee this morning, by the way?
Almost there.
Oh, nice.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you tag your friends, share this post, because we've got a great guest with us today. Super excited to be here with JMo. Hey JMo, how you doing?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Good. So I'm going to be behind the scenes taking all of your questions and your comments and making sure that we get it to Julia and JMo during today's broadcast. So without further ado, I will go ahead and send it over to Julia.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. And thank you, JMo, for joining us today. For those of you who don't know, his name is Jarrett Maloy. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. He's known as JMo, so we're just going to call him JMo today, and that's what he goes by, right?
That's right. That's the cool name I go by, I guess. I don't know how I got the nickname, but it came and stuck.
This is awesome. So I do have some slides and visuals for everyone so that we have some great references to what he does before we get into it. JMo has done an amazing job growing his business, and it's all about snow cones. And the story really, I mean, I'm sure, you know, there's some pictures we'll refer to it as well, but the background is you started it as a fundraiser, right? It was like almost like an accidental discovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's grown it from the ground up, and now you have 2 mobiles, 2 snowmobiles, if you want to call it, and a shop.
Right.
That is fascinating. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to move my little browsers here I know Chrissy's going to be able to pull it up for me as soon as it's up. I hope she can show it. There's our awesome photos. So yeah, let's first get to know you a little bit more. I mean, these are just the main points. We're going to talk about your story. We're going to talk about Sneauxball and how you're managing your social media and what you're doing giving back to the community. So tell me a little bit more about how you started off.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say the business started off because it wasn't a business at first. It was really just a way that I saw that I could raise money for a youth development program that I wanted to start for student athletes. And the basis behind that youth development program, I played baseball all my life pretty much, and I was blessed enough to have a baseball scholarship at Southern University, which is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And there I really found a liking to just being involved in the community. I was always one of the first people to volunteer when we had to do like an early morning or early Saturday morning, like a clinic or go feed some people in the community, stuff like that. So I always one of the first people to volunteer for that. And what I started to realize was that, you know, utilizing the platform that you have as an athlete, a lot of people look up to you, even though you don't really realize it at the time. But a lot of people are kind of trying to follow in your footsteps. So when they see you doing something positive, they want to do something positive as well. And I was like, well, what better way to, you know, really install this into people, especially student athletes at a younger age. So why not implement this at the middle school or the high school level? So that way, when they get to college, it's already instilled in them. So it's not like they're pulling teeth to get you to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning to go, you know, go to a shelter and feed or provide clothes and stuff like that. So really the basis of it was, you know, just fundraising to start that program. And I realized like, oh, all businesses, they need money to start, right?
Yeah.
So how can I raise money because I didn't feel comfortable asking people for money. That's just my personality. And I was like, well, what can I do on my own to, raise this money? And the background of living in Louisiana, that's where I learned about Sneauxballs out there. And I was already going to the pools here in Tallahassee. And I was just like, well, it's hot outside, so maybe people will buy some Sneauxballs for like a couple dollars, and I'm still out here having fun as well. But that was the fundraising goal for it. So that's really how it started. And I'm sure we'll dive deeper into like how the business grew into what it was now too.
That's awesome. So did you grow up in Tallahassee?
Yeah.
And you also lived in Louisiana. You went to college in Louisiana. That's where you went, right?
So I'm actually from Tallahassee. I attended Lincoln High School, and then I went out to Louisiana for college, and then I came back.
That's awesome. Yeah, my daughter is zoned for Lincoln, so she's going to be there next year. It's really true. Something about athletes, you have to really train yourself to have the mental toughness, and you have to almost like motivate yourself to like keep pushing forward. So I thought you brought up a really great point about that, and I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so going back to the slides, I know we're going to be hopping back and forth between pictures because I just want to feature more. Like, here's the famous snowmobile, and I'm guessing you got an artist to help you out with that. I love how you did that.
Yeah, this is that was one of the unique things that I did about the business. So whenever I do things, I don't like to go by the book, which is sometimes a bad thing, but a lot of times it's a great thing. So when I first came up with the concept of what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted my colors to have the New Orleans themes, which are typically purple, yellow, and green, as you can see on the trailer.
Yeah.
So
LSU tires?
Well, part of that too, but more so like the Mardi Gras feel.
Yeah.
It's the colors you see in Louisiana everywhere. And so initially when I went to get the trailer, I wanted to wrap it in purple. So the base is purple, not this one, the first one I had, but it wrapped in purple. And I went to some local shops to kind of get a design as far as how they wanted to do the graphics. And everything that came back just wasn't my style. It was too formal, too like cookie cutter in a sense. I was like, well, what else can I do? I was like, well, I'm really big into art, as you can kind of see, like the background back there, have art here.
Yeah.
Some of the walls are, spray painted as well. So I was like, well, what better way to have, maybe I just have like a graffiti artist or something, like bless the trailer, like do what they do. And I found a great artist in Louisiana who was friends of a friend, and she referred me to him, and I just took it to him. I said, hey, this is the theme I'm going for. Do what you do. And I came back within a few hours, and I was just blown away. I was like, okay, yeah, you did the right thing. So anytime I have any kind of artwork stuff, I take it to him. His name is Co. You can kind of see it on the trailer.
Cool.
So yeah, everything is spray paint by hand, everything.
That's really cool. And I love how you made the snow cones huge. That just is like, it makes a huge impact when you're I'm guessing you have to drive it around once in a while. Does it usually get stationed at the same locations?
Yeah, so the one that was just pictured, that's the actual drive-through trailer. So that one stays stationed.
Okay.
But I have a smaller version, which is a purple one, and that's the one I utilize for catering. So, and it's got the exact same concept. The artwork's a little different, but it's the same theme. Like, it's definitely brand recognizable.
So I know you mentioned catering. Before last year, I know it was probably a rough year, probably in the beginning when the shutdowns happened. Tell me a little bit more about what you did for catering. How did you kind of get into that type of service?
Yeah, so the catering, it goes back to the initial concept of fundraising to raise money. So by me going to these apartment communities, the first one I went to, I was like, hey, can I set up here? And I just want to serve Sneauxballs for like a couple dollars to your residents. And I set up, I maybe sold like $10 worth. And the blessing that happened was, I guess the property manager just happened to look over at the right time when I had a line, the only time I had a line. And I guess he looked over then, and after it was over, he was like, hey, the residents seem to really enjoy this. Do you all cater? And I was like, yep. So I went from, fundraising to now I'm a catering business in the matter of like an hour or two. And so they ended up booking me for their next event they had that next weekend. and, just trying to figure things out. I immediately got on Google. I was like, okay, what do I need? Like, what are the prices? Like, what do people charge? And how do I do this? How do I get a business license? Because they were asking for forms, and I was able to complete all that within like 5 days, like just to get all that stuff done. Now, was it perfect? Absolutely not. But enough to get me to that Saturday to everything they needed. And I catered that event for an hour. And the blessing in that was that they had 4 or 5 different sister properties, so all under the same management.
Oh,
so
cool.
when I did their event, the other sister properties booked me for their events as well, like for the next weekend. So then I went from, serving $2 snowballs to at the time charging, I think it was like $75 for an hour. And then now I'm like booked for the weekends. Like
That's awesome. That's like you were there at the right time at the right place, and that person came in and then just like, you're done. You're set for catering now. And then you also had some really good relationships with big organizations in Tallahassee, right?
Yeah, so that came a little bit longer down the line. But it's one of the key words in business is really, relationships. Mm-hmm. So the big thing for me is once I started getting booked for events, it wasn't just like they're calling me nonstop, right? So one thing that I did was I would actually go to these apartment communities. I would actually go there, and let me make sure, is my video still going?
Yeah.
Got a notification. Okay. Got you. All right. So yeah, I would go to these communities, and I would literally just go there just to introduce myself. I was like, I kept it real simple, like who I am, what do I do, what do I serve, and how do I do it? Those are my points.
Cool.
Hey, I'm Jarret. I own a snowball catering company. We serve New Orleans style shaved ice. We come to your event, we set up, we served unlimited snowballs to your residents for the time. And that was it. And it wasn't like I wasn't pushing anything on them. The one question I'd always ask would just be like, do you have any events that you would like us to set up at? And more times than not, they're like, yeah. So then I'll put it on my calendar and
smart.
The next one. So that was every week. I would literally, even if I did an event for them on Saturday, that next week I'm still going back like, hey, do you guys have another event coming up? Even if it's like months down the line or whatever. So just staying in front of people and just keeping those relationships going. And I still do that to this day. Not as much, but I still do that.
No, that's awesome. And sometimes it really comes down to the ask and the timing of the ask. Mm-hmm. So it's really true. And some people have a really hard time asking for things. And I struggle with that too. One of my next questions, what I wanted to ask, if Chrissy can pull it up too, is so you're the home of the cheesecake stuffed snowball, right? So you came up with this idea. Tell me how you started that. Like, where did it come from?
Yeah, so it came from research. That's the first thing. So anytime I go out of town, I always find a snowball shop just to kind of see what other shops are doing around the country, maybe use some of their ideas, see what they're doing, what they shouldn't be doing, just doing research and learning. And the biggest thing was really a lot of people were stuffing their snowballs with ice cream, right? So, okay, well, ice cream's cool and all, but like, how can you stand out and be unique? So anytime you have if your competitor or competition, they're just serving ice cream, what can you do to separate yourself from them? And I was like, well, I like cheesecake. Like maybe, like we'll see if it works. I don't know. I like it. We'll see if anybody else likes it. And
I love cheesecake.
Yeah, but it's just a weird concept. Like who puts cheesecake in ice? So, but yeah, I put it out there. People started buying it and enjoying it. And we just kept rolling with it. So, that's what it's really known for now. And it's also a good marketing tool, especially if somebody's walking by or they see the sign that says Snowball, home of the cheesecake stuffed snowball. You're kind of like, what? Like, I'm intrigued. Let me just go see what it is. And then once they come in, they try it. And next thing you know, the rest is history.
And that makes it like your signature item, really. Like, okay, this is where the idea came from. And I love that. It's a smart tagline. Sometimes even with restaurants or anything that offers food, you want to know what it is that they're known for. So I felt like that was a strategic move right there. So here's some more pictures of snowballs. And I love this. One of my team members helped me pull this quote. I believe it was from your website. So it's all about the experience. and inspiration that the product brings. Sometimes people or businesses push the product too much, but I think you also convey, your brand, your story, and your culture really well. What else would you like to add to that?
It's real simple. Like you said, I'm reading the goal is really just to create sweet memories for everyone. So the way that I see it is, I use the example of, say, a dad and his son come into the shop on a consistent basis on Fridays. And, that's a memory that we are able to create for that son. Like, oh, I used to go to the Sneauxball shop and get a Sneauxball with my dad. I used to get a bubblegum cotton candy every Friday. That's something that the kid is going to remember for a lifetime. So that's why I say we're creating sweet memories for everyone. And it's really just a feel-good atmosphere that we really try to create. Because how many times do you go into like a dessert shop where you don't feel good, like you're getting something sweet, you're getting ice cream, or you're getting a Sneauxball, whatever it is, that's bringing joy to you. And that's what this is all about. Like at the end of the day, it is a business, but it's a fun business. It's a feel-good business. So I really try to incorporate that feeling into what we're doing.
Yeah, and I really love that you brought up memories, because it's true. The memories that stick in your childhood, like it's when you had the positive experiences as well. I remember my parents used to take me to Baskin Robbins every weekend, once in a while, when we just wanted to do just a quick snack, and that stuck with me. And I really believe that as you convey that in your branding and your story and your social media, speaking of which, we're going to get into that. Then people are it will resonate with people. So as far as managing your socials, how was last year for you? Because I know you had a big year, even though it was a rough year for restaurants and food related services.
Yeah. So social. So if you guys don't know now, social media is the move. That's how a lot of some people don't even text each other anymore. They just shoot a DM to each other. They have group chats, all that stuff. So social is where everybody's at, no matter what platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever you shoot your social media of choice. But, what I realized once the pandemic occurred was that I was just scrolling on my phone all the time because a lot of people were out of work. And at this time, I was also I was working full time at the time too. So what I realized was like I was just always on my phone, just scrolling, not really looking for anything, but just scrolling. Like, you get the notification about your screen time, and the numbers were crazy. I was like, what? Let me get off my phone.
Yeah.
So, but then I was like, well, business side kicked in. I was like, well, I'm on my phone. I know other people are probably on their phones too. So let me really amp up our social media presence by, posting more photos or really talking more about the business. And into that, it also made me become part of the brand. So I really started sharing like who I am. Like people understand like they see Sneauxball, but they really see my face at the end of the day. And that was just a big way just to kind of really just resonate with everybody. So it's more like a personal feel. So it's not like you go to McDonald's, who's the face of McDonald's? We don't really know. But yeah, so you can see like some of the, I guess my emoji, I guess.
Yeah, I love that touch right there.
Yeah, that's a funny. So I had that for years, but I had no purpose for it. So I just put it on. It was a guy in the Bahamas, like a teenage kid in the Bahamas. I found him on Instagram, and he like was having a sale for like 2 emojis for like $15. And I was like, those look cool. Like, let me just get one.
That's cool.
And I had no purpose for it, and I put it on like my debit card. Like, you can customize your debit card. So that's what I had it on. And then I started doing the quotes. I was like, well, I see other brands like branding their stuff. So like, let me just put my face on there, and it just stuck.
Yeah, it's really true. When it comes to social media, the personal brand tied with that really helps. And people who, obviously younger audiences, even, our age, you can call me Generation X, whatever. I'm borderline millennial, whatever. We do gravitate towards authenticity on social media. Like if it's less commercial and more real, then people respond to that more, right? And I feel like you did that so effectively, and you grew from 4,000 to now 11,000.
Oh, at 11? Oh,
yes, it's 11,000. Congratulations.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's only going to exponentially grow from here. So, yeah, no, it's pretty fascinating. I love that. And then I know when we briefly talked before, you mentioned that you posted like about 3 to 4 times a day in a timely manner, in a consistent way.
Yeah. So that was the other thing, was really when I said I increased my social media presence, it was just posting more, not just saying I just flooded the timeline, but there was strategy behind everything. So I kind of developed a good schedule so I could space the post out. And I realized, you don't want to just post anything. You want to have a purpose behind it. So a lot of things, maybe like a video of me making the product. So that engages people like, oh, that's interesting. I never saw somebody make something like that. Or pouring the syrup. Just the aesthetics that really catch people's eyes. And kind of the idea behind the pictures are that when you're looking at the screen, you're like, oh, I would definitely have to try that. Like, that looks so good. So that was just, I kind of found I keep saying the word sweet. I believe I found a sweet spot with what I was doing as far as branding wise. And I just kept, when I saw that something was working, I doubled down on it. And if that was working, I tripled down on it. If that was working, I would just go even further into what I was doing.
Yeah. So I know there's some people who are probably testing out different social media strategies, and they're kind of beginner level or even not understanding too much about it. What would you say would be the best type of tips or strategies that you would implement now, knowing what you know now? Like, what would you prioritize on?
Yeah. I'm sorry if it gets noisy. There's a car outside.
Oh, I can barely hear it. You're good.
Good. It's kind of distracting me, but so any tips I could give? This is giving like one of my secrets in a sense. So when I come to social media, what I do is I'll test different images or videos to see what a lot of people are engaging with. So example, we see this cotton candy. It's crazy. I remember flavors. This cotton candy with whipped cream with sprinkles on top of it. A lot of people engage with that. So that's going to go into my memory bank as far as people like that one. So I'll post more things like that. It might be maybe a strawberry with the whipped cream on top. I might do something like that, but really just double down on what's working. But you have to test that stuff first before you can know. But once you figure out what is working, you just continue to post stuff that's like that.
That's brilliant. And that's one of the things I recommend to my clients too, is that you never know unless you actually test. And that's the beauty of social media, is you can actually test out different concepts and ideas with your fans and see what works. And it's really true. You have to double down on the things that work, and then you kind of change it up a little bit. And I think what you also do effectively is you're posting a lot of video. I love that. And then that people will watch that, people will take the time to engage with that kind of post. So now I wanted to kind of transition into giving back and sharing your knowledge about what you're doing more recently. You had mentioned, and I saw on your website, that you have like a video or some type of course that you've put together to help people who are starting out fresh with Snowcones, right?
Right. Yeah. So this is a major part of the business. You always want to help people along the way as far as sharing your knowledge of what you've been doing and what you've learned along the way. So what I've been doing is I've actually created, there it is. So I've created an ebook, which pretty much just guide individuals provide the resources that I use personally to start the business from every level. So back in the days when I was doing the fundraising. So if you have a budget of say $400 to $600, what all do you need and what can you get to start your snowball business? Then if you're a little more serious, well, what do you need to get your trailer? Like, where do you get your trailer from? What supplies do you need? All that kind of good stuff, right? And then what do you need if you're going to open up a storefront? Like, what do you need from there? Like, what's the process? What equipment do you need? And what I've been able to do is really, because I've done so much research, I've been able to save, I've saved one person like $15,000 just based off of what he didn't know. So what I realized is that it really is beneficial. To me, it's very simple for me because I've already been through the process, right? So when I'm hearing feedback from other people, like how much it's helped them or how much it's saved them money, I'm like, okay, now I really have to, I need to tell people more. So that's what I've been doing.
And I think you're going to obviously see that it's going to pay off in dividends for you, because you're saving people time and money. That's like the most important thing. And I just I love that. And I love how you put this together. I've actually done this for my business too. I'm actually working towards doing some video courses as well to help people, because I kept seeing a lot of people make a lot of the same mistakes, or I'll see businesses doing some things that I wish that, you know, they had known earlier on, that they could have saved thousands of dollars, you know. So this is brilliant. I'm so glad you did this, and I'm sure it's going to take off for you.
Yeah, I was actually kind of nervous about putting this information out because, you know, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you second guess yourself. Like, do I really know what I'm talking about? Like, am I really about to tell this person to go spend their money and get this? And like, I know it works for me, but is it going to work for somebody else? So at first I was nervous about it, but once I saw that people were enjoying what I was putting out there and it really was helping people for sure, I was like, okay, like I do have an idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you definitely do. I mean, and you went through that whole journey of, you know, trial and error. So there's so much value to that. And you could even start developing programs on top of this. I'm sure you're probably considering what to do next with that. But you have so much going on. You have two mobiles, you got your brick and mortar, and I'm guessing you're probably going to grow beyond that. I don't know. If it's still a secret, you don't have to say anything.
Smile on my face.
So is there anything that you wanted to add and mention, talk about in addition to this? I was just going to share with everyone your information. I could show your website as well.
Yeah. I guess really the purpose behind the business, this can apply to anybody who's starting a business. You know, it's really bigger than yourself. So that's the way your mindset should really start off, is you're not doing it for the monetary value of it. You should be doing it for either helping somebody else or, you know, just being of service to your community. And that's how Sneauxball was built. It was never built for me trying to fund my lifestyle or whatever, right? It was, I'm raising money for a youth development program that's going to end up helping other individuals. And so that's why I really bring the community into everything that I'm doing, whether it's, you know, doing like a community give back where we're giving out free Sneauxballs, or donating money to a cause, or just something of that sort. So we do a lot of fundraising and shared nights, because it's all about, like, a lot of sororities will do a shared night where we're able to have some of their members come in, and then we'll donate a portion of those sales back to the organization, so they can then donate it back to whatever cause that they're supporting. So it's really just the community aspect of it, because I say, like, I have the keys, I pay the rent, but it's the community that's keeping the doors open. It's the community that is talking about it. It's the community that's really building this business. Like, I just happen to operate it. That's it. And having a great team and staff in place is probably one of my favorite things, is just being able to help other people and just see other people. Like, I hate to say I'm a role model, because I don't even view myself as that, because I'm just doing what I do, in a sense. If you want to follow me, great. If you don't, too.
No, y'all need to follow him and look at those snow cones. My gosh. Now, and then also, because I did see your the YouTube video about how it all got started, and your team, they were just vouching for how you're such a great leader, you're a great pattern, and, you know, of course, you're a role model. You're such a great example of success, and I appreciate that, how they also said that you're very kind and patient and just willing to teach them how to do all of this. And so I feel like because of your focus on community and helping others, that's why you are a huge success. And the reason why I had heard about you, even though I've been here like 10 years, I just heard about you, honestly, in the last year because of Tallahassee Foodies. And I guess, I mean, you had blown up even more after that too. But you've obviously been doing so much for the community. What capacity of an organization or an event can you take generally?
I say I can do it all.
Ooh, see?
Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out. No matter what, nothing scares me. Like, if I'm a yes man. Like, I'm gonna say yes and I'm gonna figure it out. Like,
that's awesome.
I might be double booked or triple booked at times. I'm still gonna say yes, and we're gonna figure this out. So I kind of, I guess it's kind of bad. I put that pressure on myself, But more times I always figure it out. I force myself to figure it out. And then once I'm able to figure that out, when something like that comes along again, I'm like, oh, it's easy. I already know what to do. So, capacity wise, like I just say there's no limit. We just figure it out.
That's awesome. And well, I guess we could also end with this, because I hear a lot of what successful people say too, that you're saying, which is really the mindset, about like not limiting yourself and just you're willing to do it, be the yes person. And also I love how you just take every opportunity that has come your way. Well, what has been one of your favorite examples as far as successful people you look up to? Did you have mentors? Do you have favorite authors or business entrepreneurs?
Yeah, definitely. But before I get into that, when you said something about the yes, that took me all the way back to the first time I went to that apartment. And when he asked me, do I cater? If I would have said no, I just got chills. If I would have said no, would this all be possible? Would I be here right now?
I'm getting chills right now too. I mean,
I just thought about that.
It's really true. It ties back to what you said. You said yes. You didn't even think about the details. You didn't worry about anything. You said yes, and it took off from there.
Yeah. Wow. I really got chills for real. Okay. That's crazy. But yeah, a couple of people that I look up to. When I first was starting out, now he's this mega superstar, but his name's Eric Thomas. He's called the E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. Cool. And he put out a video, and the quote behind it was, you have to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. Now, I know that's like extremity, right? But that was the baseline of the video, and it had an athlete. He was training. He was trying to get to the NFL. There's this whole great video concept behind it, and that got me engaged where I started watching all of his videos. He would post something called like Thank God It's Friday or TGI Monday, one of those. Thank God It's Monday or Thank God It's Friday, one of those. And it was just motivation. It was just inspiration day in and day out. And I was never a big reader. In school, I was a great student, but I could have been way better. But I just school was easy for me in the sense where I didn't have to study, but I wasn't making A's. So there you go, Eric Thomas.
Yeah. I'm the same, Jarrett. I was not really a big reader before. I was not really much of a school person.
Yeah, so he put out a book. This is the very first book I've ever purchased, like on my own will and power and my own money. I purchased his book. And I read that book so fast. I was blown away by myself. I was like, dang, did I really just read that? Like, I can read. So yeah, I read that book, and it just lit a fire under me just the mindset. I've always had a great mindset just based off of sports. Because when you're playing sports, and you got to have a tough mindset, especially as a pitcher. That was my position. So nothing started until I started. So everything else follows what I do. So, and it's literally pitch by pitch by pitch. So if I throw a pitch and somebody hits a home run, I still got to face the next batters. I still got to throw another pitch. So I have a real short-term memory when it comes to like mistakes, or we could say failures or lessons or whatnot. But really just having that mindset of being positive and knowing that you've put the work in behind the scenes. So now it's just time to show up.
Yeah.
So, even when it comes to business, you have to continue to learn every single day. Like, I feel like I know a whole lot, but I know there's a bunch of stuff that I don't learn. And that's why it's also important to, whether you hear about business coaching or consulting and stuff like that, where people are charging at times, or mentees or mentors, they've already been in some of the positions that you want to get into. So take the time to learn from them. If they're charging something, pay for what they're charging for, and you're going to pick up something. I promise you're going to pick up something. But just getting that kind of guidance has been really beneficial. So I actually have a business coach too. So people are like, well, he's just saying, no, I have a business coach too. And
yeah,
she's never owned a food. She's never been in the food industry. She didn't even know what a snowball was. I mean, I think she didn't really know. So in her mind, she didn't even know how she could really help me, but she has that business background to where she's been through a lot of things. So she's helping. She's the one who encouraged me to create the ebook. She's the one who's encouraged me to do consulting calls, because she's like, you know what you're talking about. Like, you need to help other people. I'm like, do I?
Yeah.
And so just having somebody put that in your ear and believe in you, and, you know, don't think that your business coach is going to tell you what to do step by step. That's not the case.
Right.
What they're doing is they're opening your mind and letting you see that you're capable of doing greater things.
Right.
And that's really what she's done. Her name is Donnie Wiggins. And yeah, I've been working with her for like a year, and there's always a story behind everything. So this all goes back to E.T., to Eric the Hip Hop Preacher. So I was studying him, listening to his videos and stuff. I saw that he was going to be at a business conference.
Oops. I hope my audio's not working.
I hear you.
I pulled up her website. I don't know if that started playing. Did that start playing?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. I was like, I tried to pull it and it started playing audio. I was like, oh no, I'm interrupting him. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so I went out to Vegas for a business development conference. Never been to one in my life. Didn't really know much about them, but I just knew other successful people were going to these business development conferences. So I called one of my buddies who lives in California. I was like, hey man, I know you're in real estate. Like, I want to go to this business conference. It's in Vegas. Like, we could do some business and have fun at the same time. So we went out there, not really know what to expect. I just knew that Eric the Hip Hop Preacher was going to be there, and a couple other speakers that I've been following were going to be there all at one time. So I was like, let's do it. We went out there, and I picked up two things out there. So one, the importance of having a business coach. I was like, if all these successful people have coaches, like, why? I don't know what it is. I don't know how much they cost, but why don't I have one? So that was the first thing. I was like, let me look into this. The second thing was when it comes to marketing. There are these two guys who did Facebook marketing, and they sold like products online, and their marketing budget, they said their budget was $2 million a month. $2 million a month.
I know.
They made $8 million. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I'm scared. I'm scared to spend $5, and they're over here spending $2 million.
Yeah.
And it just it clicked to me, like, the more that you spend, you know, the greater your chance of your revenue. You're doing the things the right way. And that's just coming with, you know, testing out things. But when I got back in town, there was another guy who also followed Eric Thomas, kind of like Eric Thomas was his mentor. And he was more, when we talk about, you know, being relatable and being being a person. To me, Eric Thomas, I can't reach him. To me, that's what I'm thinking. But this guy, I can connect with him. At the time, he maybe had like, I don't know, 10, 15,000 followers, something like that. I'm still not thinking he's going to respond, but he put out a post saying, I'm accepting 5 coaching clients. I was like, oh, this is my time. I don't just DM people, but I DM'd them just like, hey, I'm interested. And he shot me DM back like, oh yeah, we've already filled the 5 slots. I'm like, hey.
Oh yeah.
So then I don't know where this came from in my mind, but I was like, well, can you tell me who's in your top 5? Like, who's in your starting 5? I kind of related to sports. I was like, who are your top 5 players that you would suggest? And he's like, yeah, he referred me to Donnie. And that's how it all started, all because I went to this conference.
Yeah.
And it just trickled down, and it's just been a blessing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, everything falls into place how it's supposed to fall in place. That's just how I believe. You just don't know when, but it's going to fall in place.
That's so awesome. And it's really true. Like, some of the greatest people right now, I just happened to hop into a Clubhouse meeting room that involved Lewis House, Billie Jean. I don't know if you're familiar with some of them.
Billie Jean, he was there.
Yeah. No, I know.
If you click his stuff, you're going to get ads every day.
Exactly. I mean, so everybody has heard of Billie Jean at least at one point. But yeah, and he was moderating. He had Grant Cardone, you know, and so these are successful people. And he asked them, like, how do you start from nothing? Because Lewis House used to couch surf and had nothing. And so he said, you just need to invest in yourself. And he said, I spent money on this event. It was a digital marketer event. And he went to a mastermind. And he said, from there on out, that's when everything changed. Like, I think it's all about investing in yourself, investing in your skill set. And I've been doing more of that in the last year, just listening, learning to a ton of podcasts and things like that. So I totally get you on the value of getting a coach, a mentor, investing in a program that'll hold you accountable to get on the right track. Yeah. So go for it.
There's so many free resources too. When you were talking about listening to podcasts, I didn't even think about this, but I realized over the past like 2 years, I mean, I rarely watch TV. I don't watch TV. I don't really watch TV. I don't watch Netflix. Like if I'm watching something, it's going to be The Profit or Shark Tank or something business. That's just what captures my attention. But other than that, I might be on YouTube. And what I realized when I was working, this is probably, I shouldn't be telling myself, but it doesn't matter now. So when I was at work, so work starts at what, 8:30? 8:30 I think it started. So from 8:30 to 9:30, I was on YouTube watching some kind of business development, whether it was Eric Thomas, his 5-minute video. Then I couple that with like Gary Vee and one of his talks for a couple minutes. Then I couple that with somebody else or something I found. But every single day, this stuff was playing in my mind. So it was nothing but positivity or motivation or business sense that I was learning day in and day out. And I didn't really realize that until now that, that was a major impact. When you talk about investing in yourself, it might not be monetary, but take the time to learn new things or just to listen. You really just have to fill your mind set up with positivity and just good business sense at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Julie, I wanted to add because there's a question here. I know this is kind of a little side question, but I gotta know, how do you come up with your flavors for Sneauxball?
So you mean the name, or like say like bubblegum? Like why did I choose that? Or
who comes up with your flavors for Sneauxball?
Yeah, so I really that goes back to the basics of when we started. That's research. So first, our research, what are the most popular flavors? So we all know, most people will say blue, red, and green, right? But it's blue raspberry, cherry, and green apple, right? So you're going to figure out what are the most popular flavors that people are going to get. And then I'm going to look at the menu. So then you just kind of figure out like, what are other things that people are going to like? There's always a list of, just based on history, you're going to know what people like, but then it comes to how you're going to be different. So like the strawberry cheesecake, well, we make cheesecake, so why not? It's got cheesecake in the name, so let's couple the strawberry cheesecake with the cheesecake. The red velvet cake, so all the cake flavors, it's really just kind of what intrigues you and what tastes good too. So if I go to a new place and like when I do research, I'll go to a Sneauxball shop and they might have, let's say something crazy like dill pickle. Like I'm not about to buy dill pickle unless I've tasted it and vetted for it to see what it tastes like first. If I don't like the taste of it, I'm not going to use it, because I can't, when a customer comes in, I can't be like, oh yeah, the dill pickle, get that. Like I can't do that. Now there are only a few flavors that I just don't like I don't like grape, but grape is a common flavor. Some people like that. And I don't like, that's really it.
So you guys have tried every single flavor.
Oh, that's the other thing. I've tried every single flavor. I've tried every single combination you could possibly think of, even the crazy one. So I was this guy, he would get a banana. Oh, I don't like banana by itself. So he would get banana and bubblegum. Like who comes up with something like that? So I tasted it. I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty good.
Wedding cake is my favorite too.
That's what Callista says too. Yeah.
Wedding cake is definitely a solid choice.
Popular, right?
Yeah. So really just going by stuff that you like, because when you like something, you're able to really talk about it. Like you talk about it confidently, at least, or suggest it to a customer. So, but really knowing all the flavors and what combinations go together. So like I said, I've literally tasted every single combination you could probably think of, like anything from root beer and chocolate together. Like I might take one scoop of it, but I'm gonna taste everything that somebody creates. So that's how we come with the cool different flavors and combinations as well.
That's cool. And since we are Oh, go ahead, Chrissy.
No, I also wanted to share another comment from Jamal Sharp, who has been watching. Hey, Jamal. He says, all for the community and even helped me start my own business. Definitely knows his stuff.
Yeah, it's Jamal, man. So a quick story about Jamal. So Jamal came, he was one of the staff members, and this was right before, it was right when the pandemic happened. So it was literally right around this time last year where everything just started going crazy. So at the time I had like 2 team members, I believe, or 3. And, you know, the pace started picking up a little bit. It was going here and there, but then all of a sudden it just spiked. And it got to the point to where I was like, man, we need more bodies. We need more bodies in here. And at the time I had put out hiring applications, but I didn't have time to vet through everybody. So I really just trusted my instinct and my gut. I called Jamal and I called a girl named Jasmine. I called both of them and I was like, hey man, you know, I don't have time to do interviews. I'm just trusting my gut. Like, when can you start? I can start on Monday. I'll see you Monday. and he's definitely been a great blessing to the business for sure. He's got a great business sense, and he just recently graduated from FAMU, I believe, in December. And he now lives in Pensacola, and he has his own photography business already. And now he's got to couple that with the snowball business. And one thing that I noticed, I never told him this, but one thing I noticed while he was here, he would always listen to what I'm saying. He wouldn't so much ask a bunch of questions, but anytime I talk, he would be listening. And to the point where I was like, he's going to learn a lot of stuff. And that's what I say. Like, that's another thing about the business. The business is great. The product is great, but it's how many people can I help with this business? This is just a platform.
Yeah.
It's a platform that happens to serve snowballs. So my goal is to have any of my staff members, my goal is to have them create their own snowball shop if they want to. I'm giving them every single resource, every opportunity. I want his shop to be better than I want his shop to be better than this. It's got to be better because it has to, because he's learned everything that I could teach him, and he just has to perfect it and make it his own and make it better. So I believe he's gonna do a great job. I already know, I had that feeling for him. So, but he definitely one person that understands, you know, the community aspect of it, and just being able to inspire others. And I know I'm kind of on a tangent now. So in December, I took the entire team we went on a snow trip. So we went skiing. We went to Salt Lake City, Utah.
Wow.
It wasn't, a lot of people thought it was like me rewarding them, but that wasn't it at all. It was, I appreciate y'all for really, you know, riding with us, because we were all learning as we were going. Like, the shop was going crazy. The shop was going crazy. Like, it was like day in and day out. Like, we thought we put a peak, and then next week it'd be even higher. Then we thought that was the peak, it'd be even higher.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, for them just to really ride with me, and they understood that I had never hired anybody before. I've never run a staff. I didn't know how to do the scheduling. I was learning with them as we were all doing everything. And I made that very clear to them that I'm learning too right now. So when we went on that trip, it was really, I'm all about experiences. Like, I told myself, I was like, well, I could give you guys like a bonus or something like that, like something monetary. Like, that's cool and all, but you might go to Best Buy during Christmas and just go buy like a TV. Like, I didn't help you do anything. So I was like, let me take them on a trip, something that I've been skiing before, but I knew a lot of them had never been skiing.
Yeah.
And when would be the next time that when would they think about going skiing? If they've never been, they've never thought it was possible. Some had seen snow before. So I was like, let's go on a trip. And I just want to provide this experience for you guys. And not only that, I wanted to open you guys' eyes up to see there's other things out there. So we stayed in a extremely nice condo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, extremely nice condo. And that was for me. That was to open my eyes. Somebody owns this. Like, what did they do to own it? Like, okay, I see it's attainable now. Like, somebody else has this, so why can't I do it?
Yeah.
So we stayed in a very nice area, just the experience. You know, they got to go skiing and snowboarding for the first time. Jamal probably might regret what we did, but it was everybody's first time. So he actually came with me on one of the more difficult trails. because I was kind of pushing. Like I was like, okay, he's kind of got it, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to do this. But we're just gonna push him and see. Once you get to the top, you can't come back down until you go down. So,
yeah.
But he handled it great. There was one thing that really stood out was we got like halfway down the mountain, and he had fallen a couple times, and he was like, "Man, I don't know if I can do this anymore." And I was like, I told him, I was like, Jamal, look at what you like. Look up. Look what you just did. And it was like steep. I was like, you can do the rest. I promise. Like, but since you just did that, now you know you can do the rest of it. So just keep going, man. And we're gonna make it down this mountain. We're gonna get down.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah,
I've never gone skiing before, so I can imagine. I've only gone sledding, and that scares me already.
Yeah, so it's all about, building that confidence and just the experience. That's it. So hopefully this year we'll do something else. I don't know what yet. It just kind of comes when it comes. But I definitely want to provide more experiences for the team.
That's wonderful.
And I think it's also cool for so not to downplay like my previous job or anything, but when I worked there for 7 years. And on the last day I received a box of donuts. That was my like going away present, I guess. So I was like, I mean, I like donuts, but that's cool and everything. But then I think about, so I had Marka was my first employee. I don't like to say employee, one of my first team members.
Mm-hmm.
And she had been talking about getting a MacBook for like the longest, but she was in her shopping cart. She just never got it. So when she graduated in her last day, I surprised her with a MacBook. And my close group of friends, they're like, dang, man, you over here buying people MacBooks, like working at their jobs and they don't even get like a bonus or they don't get any kind of gift. You buying MacBooks. I was like, man, you just have no idea what she meant to me personally and as the business. Like she helped build this to what it is. So
yeah,
I know she's watching, but shout out to Marka. She's another one who's really bright and has a great future ahead of her too.
That's awesome. And you brought up a really great point that really behind a great business is the team, and how you lead the team makes a tremendous difference. And so team culture is huge, and you're touching on something that I feel like would really benefit Tallahassee in general. It's like our business community could definitely improve more on that. So you set a great example. I wanted to show people your website and your contact information as we kind of close. And people should go check it out. Definitely go check out, like there's gift card options. You can order online. Obviously go to his snowmobiles and get samples and follow him on Instagram. He's pushing out great, valuable content. It's not just about snow cones. It's obviously he's got a business mindset and a motivational mindset. He's here for the community. We're supporting a man who wants to support the community. It's not just a monetary thing. So for those of you who have not started following him, find him on Instagram and check him out on his website. Christy, did you want to also help us finish up?
I just want to say your story is so inspirational, and just the fact that you're helping other entrepreneurs achieve their goals and dreams is amazing. And I love the whole idea of, learning and sharing your knowledge and sharing that with others to improve our community. I think that is selfless, and I think more people should definitely do that when they're starting their business or sharing their ideas. So I appreciate it.
No, yeah, I appreciate y'all. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. You just want to help other people out, especially if you have the resources or the knowledge to do it. Like, what's it going to hurt you? Just help. You never know who you're helping out. You never know what somebody's day has been like. You don't know. You don't know everybody's situation.
And JMo, you should definitely get one of your team members, if you want, to get some quotes from you, because you have some awesome quotes from this interview. I'm just saying, use it for your social, because I want to take some quotes down and quote you on my social.
It's funny that you say that. So sometimes in the mornings when I'm doing like an IG post, like I'll do like good mornings or whatever it is, and I'll say something and I'm like, dang, that might be a quotable. So then I'll put in the caption, I'm like, that's a quotable.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and those of you watching the recording, thank you for watching as well. Feel free to shoot us any questions and comments and any suggestions for future guests. we would love to invite more local influencers and business owners as well to just feature their story. Follow us on social, visit my website at jhcreative.co. And thank you, Chrissy, for helping me co-host.
Yes, this has been amazing. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
I appreciate y'all again. Thank y'all for having me too. This is cool.
Thank you so much, JMo.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, everyone.